Welcome to another episode of Reece's Reviews. My name is Matt, and joining me on this episode today is Reece, Great Scott Cashel, and
yes.
Wow,
yeah, this is very heavy. It's very heavy, heavy episode.
What's heavy?
What's heavy? I don't know. What is heavy?
Yeah, well, we're doing this live in person.
Yes, this is a first on the podcast. The fact that we're actually now not just doing it over video chat from each other's place, we're actually live and in person. This is actually going to be a really cool episode. We actually have a lot more impersonal discussions we can have face to face, literally face to face. This is going to be really cool.
Yeah. So we're doing this at the moment. Reece is on the lounge. I am on my computer seat.
Yep.
And we've got our recording device to my right.
Yeah.
And so this is the first time in our 24 episode history.
Yeah, the fact that it's taken us 24 episodes to get to this point is kind of a shame for all of us. So I think it's going to have to be like a tradition, maybe once a month or something. We're going to have to organise for us to have just do this in live kind of thing. It's kind of be really cool.
Of course, yes. And we've got a jam-packed episode as always. We have review a very chilly movie, and then we also have
first. We have a first on the podcast today.
Yeah, from where this is why we're together, because we went and saw this thing. So it's a review of Musical Proportions.
Yep. And
I also watched a movie which you have not seen.
No, but I am interested in the subject matter of the film, and I knew about it. I just didn't realize it actually came out. So it's going to be a jam-packed episode. As always, we do have our Entertainment Honourable Mentions. We're going to shake things up on this episode. We're going to have them at the end, because it's kind of a big topic. So we're going to have a lot of things to talk about and go back and forth through. So let's hit the ball running into a icy chilled review.
All right, Reece, for this next movie, we had to put our jumpers on, a couple of layers worth, put on the gloves.
Yep.
Put on our hiking boots, beanies, and we walked
get
out.
our hunting gear on.
Yes, and we walked out into the middle of the frozen lake. And thanks to Walked-In Entertainment, we managed to watch this pretty decent film. And it is starring
Joel Kinnaman.
Yeah, that guy.
I've got you, man. I've got you. Joel
I was looking at the picture.
He's Rick Flag Jr.
Yes.
How can you not?
I know. Yeah, this is a film that can be, if you're feeling hot and you want to watch something that will cool you down, this will be the movie. Icefall. Yes, where there's some interesting twists to this movie, that's for sure. But pretty much, basically, it's about a young Indigenous game warden who arrests an infamous poacher, only to discover that the poacher knows the location of a crashed plane carrying millions of dollars.
Yep.
And when that group of criminals and dirty cops are alerted to the poacher's whereabouts, the warden and the poacher team up to fight and escape across the treacherous lake before the ice melts. So
pretty much. So a very basic story. A story that's not really original, but it's all about, like, a lot of the stories these days aren't too original, but it's all about how you can take not an original concept, but take that concept and do your own spin on that and kind of give it a narrative way of getting your audience hooked and bring them and kind of take you on a journey through something that's a bit different, and hopefully the film gives you that. So I don't want to lead the charge this time. I want to leave it to you, man. This is a nice. This is a fresh of cold air for us because both of you and I have seen it. So I want to get your 2 cents on it before I give you my honest thoughts. What did you think?
Well, I went in with an open mind.
Yep.
I made sure I was in a quiet place because after reading that, I think, okay, it's going to be quite like the surreal atmosphere, snow, like drama, thriller. Yeah, I went and made sure that I was watching it isolated, so to speak.
Yeah, of course.
Watching it isolated about an isolated person. And I didn't mind it. I quite enjoyed this movie. The action, like it was a typical crime spree type thing, like some decent violence, some of it quite graphic. And I'm trying to, I am actually lost for words at the moment because it caught me off guard. Like it does kind of throw you in the deep end at the very beginning because you're following these criminals who are robbing someone in particular. But that way, hell is all set up with in regards to a pawn shop. Really, that was quite interesting. Like that, the establishing development of that, and then it goes into like it was basically like crime gang against another crime gang.
Yeah.
And who were robbing each other. And then when they managed to get the bundle or the loot and they send the loot away on a plane and the plane crashes, from there it kind of goes into like a regional territory because where it crashes into the lake, it's like this peaceful, quiet, snowy countryside in a way. And so on. And especially the game warden takes her job very seriously.
Yeah, she does.
There was enough action in it. There were some moments where I snapped out of it, of the story, because when they're doing like a shootout scene or whatever, they were so close to each other in the scene, but with the amount of Uzis, machine guns and stuff, I was like, how could you miss hitting someone? So But other than that, it's a straightforward story, which kind of felt like that they wedged in a couple of things which I found was not really suited for it, or they needed to develop the characters more.
3 different narrative story points into one.
Exactly, yeah. I wanted to know more about the poacher. Yeah, like I really wanted like a deep, meaningful thing. Like we do find out why he's doing it because he's trying to find his wife who's disappeared, because he's the one who ends up randomly finding the money because
he's a walkabout.
He's walking by, and it finds it on the lake. What did you think? I'm sorry I'm a bit all over the place with this because it's really made me think about it's like, oh yeah, this part was good, but it was let down by this. And this part was awesome, but then a story just went off on a tangent type thing. Yeah. It's like, oh, we didn't need to know that.
All right, so my 2 cents. I agree with a lot of what you just said. I think how I plot is that Icefall with an iceberg plot. So you've got something that's down the bottom is very, very, very big. So you've got the foundation underneath is there.
Yeah.
The foundation is there, but then you got the small part on top, nothing.
Gotcha.
That's where I kind of thought about this film. Like there's a lot of potential here and a lot of good moments throughout it, but they couldn't execute it to a extent where it would become really enjoyable for an audience.
Yeah, because the parts that were in it, like when in regards to when.
Just out of curiosity, everybody who's watching this, we are going to go into a little bit of spoiler territory. This is not a theatrical film. This is not a theatrical film, so this can be found on VOD. So just a pre-warning, we might go into some spoiler territory, but from what you can probably guess at the moment, you're not missing much. So just giving it out there.
Hesitating.
Spoiler warning is there just in case we drop something. Hopefully, we will try and catch our tongues, but just in case, you have been warned. Okay. Please continue.
Joel Kinnaman is a fantastic actor, straight up.
Well, as I said at the beginning, he's bloody Rick Flag Jr.
Yeah, I know.
But at the same time, he's the guy who got killed by Peacemaker.
Yeah, so. And then he also got, what's his name as well, Danny Houston. So
yeah,
he's marvelous, especially the last thing that I saw him in was in The Naked Gun, the 2025. So perfect baddie. And the fact that, you also played a young, what's his name? Young striker. Yep.
That's where I know him from. And The Angel Has Fallen on the 3rd film in the franchise. I know him from that too. Yeah,
it's got substance there. It was just poorly executed for this film. So because where the moments, as I said, like when one of the gang members had, like after the money disappears, and then so they when they're in different ways. So it was like lost cause for 5 months, and then suddenly, bing, there it is again. The beacon had gone off, and then one had joined the priesthood. The fact that because he's also somewhat, he's gone back to his land because he's got a Native American background.
Yeah,
and
which you don't actually know. Like you just you assume that much because he knows how to navigate. But again, that's another narrative plot point that they miss. You don't actually know that he's a native. He's a native because they don't explain anything, and that's the thing. I think that I agree with you. The fact that they try to get like 3 different narrative plot points, and they don't merge well.
Yeah, and because he's gone to religion, he's now redeemed himself. So it's like that he's been cleansed of all his sins, and then he's also, let's get the gang back together. And once he got, and when he's done that,
I found the coincidence in this film was too much to overlook. Like the fact that where the plane went down, and which if your plane goes down in those kind of oceans, it's going to move with the current. Even if you've got ice on the top. And then you've got so happens to come across the person who finds the thing is in the same sort of town that the priest is there too. Yeah. Found that was a bit okay. And then you find it's supposed to be like an action thriller, which the thriller aspect is definitely there. I can give it that. I couldn't believe the action. Like the action wasn't too much to believe in.
It didn't fit the scenes that they were in. Like the shootout on the ice where they're standing in between 2 cars.
Yeah, it's
3 cars.
Dude, the guy is right there, and you've got pretty much a massive big machine gun that would mow the living hell out of him. How could you miss that? Which I know that's a common trope with all action films. Bad guys can't shoot. It's like the whole thing with stormtroopers. They can't. they can't. But the one thing I would give defense to stormtroopers in Star Wars, which they identified in an episode of Rebels, is then when you've had one of the clone troopers put on the helmet and they try and shoot and it's missing everything. And he goes, I can't see in this bloody helmet. And he takes it off and he chucks it. And then when he shoots, that's how they get around it. But it's a common trope. Bad guys can't shoot.
Yeah. One of the baddies with a conscience, basically. So it's like get the band back together, find the money. And then it's like, I can't do that because nature, if you listen to the lake, it's telling you not to kind of thing. So he has a conscience. And then, the attitude of some of the baddies as well in it. It's just like, stop with the talking and just deal with the shooting.
Exposition.
Yeah, exactly. And especially with one of them where his signature was blowing off ears.
I get the first, he did it the first time and I went, okay, he's pretty brutal.
Yeah, exactly. I thought, okay, you got me hooked on this because the way that they all set up, I'm like, this is great. They went too hard too early.
The first 20 minutes were, okay, I was intrigued. And I think the first time it lost me, like the first 20 minutes were good. Like the fact that they opened up with that heist in the, what's it called, the pawn shop and things like that. And it shows those characters in their personalities in a way. Within that first 10 minutes, you know who's who in that gang. You know who's the ruthless guy, which is the main guy who does the main black man. I can't remember his name. I'm too sorry. I'm not trying to be racist. That's that's that one. But you know each of the characters and where they stand. And then when you get to a point where you kind of get the first look at Joel Kinnaman's character, and it opens up on that beautiful landscape shot, which looks like they're shot in on location in Canada or Alaska.
Yeah,
I was looking at that, and I went, okay, that's beautiful. That is definitely an on location shot. And then when it goes from there, and it goes straight from there to him walking on the ice, which is purely green screen.
Oh yeah, that was soundstage.
And I looked at that and I went, okay, you've lost me.
Yeah, when they're doing those wide shots with the trucks, to get them both in shot type thing, and it was like that.
Every single
soundstage,
scene on the ice.
As soon as they were breathing, they were like, "Where's the fog? Where's the air?" So where's the frozen?
And every single time they're on that ice plane, it was like you can see the green screen behind them because nothing was moving.
And the fact that when the trucks just naturally drove over the the lake, and it's like, wow, the lake is sturdy, even though the game warden is saying that, we got to be careful. There's plenty of thin ice out here.
Yeah, and which means that if the car goes on it will go and
the trucks just naturally drive up without sliding around or anything. I'm going, where's the chains on the tires or whatever?
Yeah.
Anyway,
so there was a
couple of things that snapped me out of it, but I'm going, overall, there's just something there, but it was.
That's why I go to it. Is that
spoiler alert? Even though we've already mentioned it, the end part. I won't say what happens in it, but the part right at the end, the spiritual part, could have easily been moved in earlier. So
that's the thing. I found John Kitterman did as best a job as he could with the material that he had.
Yeah.
And I found that because he's the leading of your film, you actually didn't give him any character narrative.
Just only being moody and he was feeling sorry for himself.
Yeah, he was upset. You know that he's looking for his wife, in quotations, looking for his wife, and you leave that to pretty much towards the end of the film to realize that she's actually, this is spoiler, she's dead.
Yeah.
And then you get that last scene with him going to the spirit world with them,
forgiveness,
of forgiveness. Where was more expanding on that?
Yeah, we needed more flashbacks. We needed flashbacks of.
You didn't need to go overboard with the exposition of his character, but the fact that you're basing this film around him, like you knew that he was an army brat because they said he went to Afghanistan when he came back, and that kind of stuff. So they gave you some sprinkles of it throughout, but it wasn't enough to keep you emotionally invested into the actual story plot.
That's what was missing, the emotional investment.
Yeah.
So they were trying to establish characters, but then they would just seg in certain bits.
Yeah, I wasn't attached to any of the characters.
Yeah.
I didn't. The fact that I got to the end and I couldn't really care if what would happen with them, I'm going, that just tells you that the script I found wasn't strong enough to keep me emotionally invested. It's a sad thing because it's like this is a straight to VOD kind of film, so you can.
But it had so much potential.
Yeah, and that's why I call it. It's an iceberg. This is an iceberg film, which is very narrative point towards where it is an Icefall film. Iceberg, there's so much good foundation there, but nothing.
And I have no idea what the budget is, but for the budget, it looked decent too. So, other than the soundstage stuff, the shooting on location and everything, it was good. And then the baddie as well, Danny Houston, he could have been more involved instead of letting his minions do his work.
But yeah, unfortunately, if you come onto this podcast thinking about this film or not knowing too much about it, I can understand why you haven't heard too much when it comes to it, because there hasn't been too much marketing on this film. It's a straight to VOD streaming film, and unfortunately, when it comes to this film, I haven't rated it too highly. I think I've given this maybe 1.5 stars, maybe 2 at most.
No, I'll give this 2.5 stars, nearly 3. So
I think I'll give this a 2-star for me.
Okay,
2-star review. It hasn't. There was not enough there for me to give it a thumbs up. It's just unfortunately the foundations were there, but it wasn't enough substance to keep me coming back, and I don't think I remember it very fondly.
Okay, well, 2.5 stars for me then, if I'm going to look that in. And it's a big thanks to Walkden Entertainment for providing Icefall, and you can actually watch it and download, rent it, buy it on DVD, digital, throughout Australia and New Zealand from December 10th.
But we're going to go into something a little different on this podcast. We're going to go into reviewing not a film, not a TV show, but we're actually going to review a stage production musical. It's the first time on this podcast, and this is the reason why, like we said, we are here in person today, is that we're watching the adapted musical of one of our favorite films from the 80s. It is Back to the Future. Yeah, this is it. Back to the Future.
You know I can put that in post.
Yeah, I will. So we went to the Sydney Lyric Theatre today and we watched Back to the Future. And so before we go in to give our spoiler, if you say that it's a spoiler review, we're gonna throw to. We did like a little. We were in the Lyrics Theaters. Not Lyric Theater, but the Star Casino Sports Bar, and we have a little like chat about what our expectations were before we're going into the show. So we're gonna throw to that just to see what Matt and I kind of thought about going into that.
All right, over to you, Matt and Reece. Okay, we are coming from the sports bar at the Star in Sydney.
Yes, we are.
And we're about to go see stage show Back to the Future.
The musical, absolutely. I cannot wait for this. This is one of the best movies of not just our generation, but in cinematic history. And the fact now they've adapted it into a stage show for a musical, I cannot wait to see how they adapted it, what they do with the stage production, the performances, what music they put into it. I know it's going to be music from the movie, from like Huey Lewis and then Johnny B. Good, but how else they adapt certain things and how they're going to bring this story to a new medium. It's going to be, I cannot wait. It's got massive great reviews across it. The fact that we've got a actor who's playing Doc, who's been brought over from America, and to play Doc Brown, I cannot wait to see what this show is going to give us.
Excellent. And if you hear any background noise, that's because we've got sports playing on in the background.
Yeah, we're watching Detroit and Atlanta in the basketball, watching on the big screen at the moment. So
look at us watching sports.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah, so I've been looking forward to Back to the Future, the musical. This has been produced, created, developed by the actual guy himself,
who pretty much adapted the original.
Yeah. Bob Gale.
Brown. What I want to do is bring up who's doing Doc Brown in the musical.
Yeah.
So Roger. Here we go. It is Roger Bart, who's playing Doc Brown. He originally played him on Broadway, so we actually got a Broadway veteran here in Sydney playing Doc Brown.
Incredible.
So the fact that we were able to get him, I think that's why they've shortened the term, because the production value they put into this interpretation of the musical, they brought over this star from America. It just put a lot of money into this stage adaptation and production. Unfortunately, it's not getting as much of a pull with the audience as much as they would have liked, so they've had to shorten the run. So this was supposed to go on for another couple of months, but they brought it forward. They closing at the end of January, which is unfortunate because it's getting really, really good reviews of this production, but unfortunately it's just not getting the people to come in. But I am so pumped up for this. I purposely did not sit down and rewatch the movie before going into it, because I wanted to. It's been quite a while since I sit down and watch the films, so I'm going in with a kind of a fresh set of eyes. I want to immerse myself in the story again. I love the story and just the characters of Marty and Doc, and just cannot wait to get whisked up. And the fact that they've got it here at the City Lyric, here at the Star, it's a good stage in a theatre to have a production like this. So I'm pumped up.
Cool. Well, we're just here to kill some time until the doors open at 2 o'clock. So until then, we'll just keep watching sports and we'll get back to you on our thoughts of the performance.
Yeah, we'll check in for post. Here we go. Alrighty, so that was our expectations. So yeah, the main thing I knew, I've been reading up a lot about this musical. I knew about it for years, being a fan of the Broadway scene and things like that, so I knew about this. And so going into this, I had those expectations, but I want to open the floor to you, Matt. Matt Man, what did you...
I wish you could stop. That is so not 20s me. Anyway, I've come a long way since.
You have come a long way since. But what? Okay, so you're...
Okay, straight up.
Yep.
I loved it.
Okay.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. Visually stunning. I've been to a few musicals in the past.
What was the last musical you went to?
Actually, I think it might have been the Nutcracker Suite. I actually went to the ballet.
Okay.
No, actually, hold on. I can't remember. It's been that long. Maybe. Oh, no way. Can't be Mary Poppins, could it?
That was if it was here in Sydney and it was at the same theatre,
No,
that was a while ago.
That was in Brisbane, I think, actually, the QPAC. Goodness, I cannot remember.
So it's been that long then.
Yeah. I think I just saw traditional stuff like ballet type things. The setup for it was stunning. Like it was a great adaptation, and to convert it to theatre was pretty good because it followed the concept of the first film about 80%, and then they had to change a couple of things.
Yeah.
Such as, like they couldn't really squeeze in the terrorists where Doc Brown stole.
It's probably that the subject matter of that is they're probably trying to save themselves some political points. So they had to make a bit more politically correct in that way. So
I really didn't think that. I just thought because they just couldn't squeeze it into the thing because
they could have done it in a way.
The whole thing with Back to the Future is basically it's about incest. So
which they kept that plot line in.
Yeah, and it was very more intimate. I was like, oh, okay, this is making me feel a bit awkward, but very funny. It was very funny, extra jokes, good, fantastic performances. And I was startled by the lightning, like the big flashes, like the screens, and there was the part where we're coming back out of intermission, and the part where Doc Brown was having a dream.
Yeah,
that blew my mind, the way that they did the musical performance, and then suddenly it just goes dark for 1 second, and then bam, the lights come on.
And Doc Brown's in the shed.
And in the shed, and I go, how the hell did, wow, like the trickery of it.
Yeah.
And it's just stunning. Like I was immersed into it.
Okay.
And it was great. So lots of laughs. The voice impressions were great. And yeah, it was a nice tidy, I think it was like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
We walked out of there at probably about the 4:30 mark. So I would say it was just under
about an hour 45.
Just under 2 hour show.
Yeah, with a 15-minute.
With a 15-minute intermission. So yeah, I think about a 2 hour show.
Yeah, I loved it, and unfortunately because we're talking about one of the reasons why we saw it was other than the fact that it's Back to the Future. That they're cutting the season off early.
Yeah, they are. So from what I read on the Aussie Theatre Forum is that they put this production cost them a lot. Which you can tell. You can tell from with the stage production, but not just with the you can tell they put a lot of money into the stage production. Definitely, especially with the DeLorean and what they do. What they do with the DeLorean.
No spoilers, but the DeLorean.
There's a scene in the second act which stills it. So there's the DeLorean were accosted, but I think also the fact that they got Roger Bart over from the stage. They paid for an American actor. So Roger Bart is a very famous Broadway actor. He's known for a lot overseas. He was in the film adaptation of The Producers with Matthew Broderick and Nathan Lane and Uma Thurman. So he's a very well-known actor, and he played Doc Brown on Broadway, and they paid for him to come to Sydney and do the Australian tour. And so paying him along with the cost for the production and the ensemble cast, they didn't get the audience as much as they would hoped, which we were evident to today. So there was a lot of empty seats in the dress circle where we were today, and which is very unfortunate. And due to that fact, they had to cut the season short. So this is the time of this recording, we're coming up to Christmas time, and they're ending the season of Back to the Future towards at the end of January. So it is unfortunate, but it's just the way things are going with the market, the way things are going with the cost of living, and just the expense of the tickets and how things are. It's unfortunately.
But don't let it deter you to.
No, not at all. This is just all the things this is all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, but. Please continue your end review.
Well, I'm just looking up the cast and crew, and the guy who played George McFly, Ethan Jones, he was sensational. Like that, he had the mannerisms down pat. He's like,
the laugh, yeah, and the body and the
body language,
the body
and everything.
physicality,
yeah. It was just all great. The cast and crew were just fantastic, I don't know what else to say, but other than the fact that there are also now I'm seeing in detail the photos of the cast. They're quite an attractive cast.
That's their portfolio shots. They have to be.
Yeah. So, but great performances by all. Music was great. The visualizations got fully immersed in it.
Yep.
The music, music is entertaining, but nothing memorable because I'm now trying to think of, and I can't think of anything other than the signature Power of Love and Back in Time.
Yeah.
So, nothing that stood out for me that had a big, nice hook on it or anything like that.
Okay.
But yeah, if you get, as someone who's not a big musical person, I fucking loved it.
Okay.
Yeah. And now I'm looking forward to buying the 4K upgrade of my Back to the Future trilogy. And there is little references as well to other bits and pieces. Like if there's moments in the first movie where they don't get it accurate, like portray it with a certain thing, like Star Wars reference, that there's no Lord Vader reference in it, but there is a Star Wars reference.
Yeah. Yes, there is.
Yep. Okay, but now because you're the king of musicals here, the heart and passion.
Yeah, I do. Yes.
Okay, give us your honest review.
Okay, so you are right. Like I love my musicals. I love my musical theatre. I go to in the space of the next few months, I've got another 3 shows I'm going to very shortly. I'm going to be seeing Pretty Woman the musical. I'm going to be seeing Anastasia the musical, and I'm seeing I think this will be my 3rd time watching Lion King the musical come June next year in 2026. So very much an avid fan of musicals. So I walked into this one with kind of high expectations of the source material being it, and knowing the reviews I've been hearing about it. I had recommendations from my mother-in-law who really, really loved it, and just things like that. So I had kind of expectations about what it's going to be. And I can say, I always start off with positivity. So the stage production blew me away. Like, I thought the stage production, what they did with the surroundings of the stage, what they did on stage was phenomenal. How they used the DeLorean and the stage and how they used it to move from scene to scene was done very flawlessly, very beautifully. You can very much... It wasn't like you can see too much of the background. You couldn't see the background crew moving around too much. You can literally see them just moving the interchangeable sets going around, which was so flawlessly done.
Oh, it was like butter. So smooth.
So smooth. You can go from one scene to another, and it wasn't like it was jarring because you can see people running around in the background.
For me, immersive, yeah.
Absolutely. That part was phenomenal. I thought that a lot of the songs, a lot of the songs were very similar, weren't too catchy, things like that. I thought the one besides the obvious Roger Bart being brilliant as Doc Brown and being funny and having quirks, another person in the cast that really stood out to me was Javon King, who played Goldie Wilson.
Mm-hmm. Mayor Goldie Wilson.
Yeah, Mayor Goldie Wilson. And then he also played Marvin Berry at the end in the band.
Thought he looked familiar.
The same guy. So I thought he stood out for me. Like, his voice and how he portrayed things, like, he was phenomenal. So he pricked my eyes straight away. So I really enjoyed his performance. So those two are what stand out to me. So the vocals were on point for the entire cast. The performances were as good as they could possibly be, with Javon and Roger being the standout for that. And then the way they were interchanging with a lot of the stuff, and the way they narratively did the story from the movie pretty much on par. We were changing just certain plot points to
adapt it
because you've got one medium is suitable for the screen, but when you're adapting that to the stage, some things don't work on stage as they do on screen. For example, I understand why they took the terrorist out, because you have to try to be a bit more politically correct in some aspects, and you didn't actually really need that aspect in the stage show. And you've also got certain things they're taking out, like they making the DeLorean voice activated, which is a bit more of a current.
Yes, yeah.
Making it a bit more of a current for the times today kind of thing, and those kind of things. So I understood where they made changes, because it didn't take away the main story of what the Back to the Future is. They made the changes, and it was able to flow very seamlessly. It didn't actually make too much of an issue. So I enjoyed that point. Now, I didn't walk out of the show thinking like this was, like, I didn't walk out going, oh my god, this was absolutely incredible. I was disappointed in some aspects. I didn't like any of the songs. I didn't think there were any memorable songs at all. I thought some of the songs
Do you think it was like a staple, or like not staple, a stencil? Like stencil, just songs of what you would hear in a musical?
Yeah, they were, but you can always find that some songs have that little catchy pull, and none of these had them. And I believe that they would literally just making songs so they can get to the next scene.
Gotcha.
And if you didn't include Power of Love and Back in Time at the end of the show, of the second act, I don't think the show still would have its memorization with the performances and the stage production, but no one will be walking out thinking about the music, which is a very shame, because one of the biggest pulls about it is you go into a musical, so you want some sort of pull and some sort of hook when it comes to the songs.
Yep.
And that's what makes a memorable musical, is the songs that you can connect to. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of my favourite musicals are not just, yes, we always connect to the characters and you want to make sure you can identify with them and you want to go on their journey with them, but the songs need to carry that narrative throughout a musical. If you don't have that, it's going to fail. So what's one of the reasons why I love Wicked so much, because those songs are so instrumental to the story, and they are so beautifully crafted and sung, and it's so beautiful throughout it. And then you've got another songs, like you've got things from The Lion King, and you've got things from like Frozen, and speaking of Disney ones now, but even things like Swinging Todd from Stephen Sondheim, those songs are very narratively woven into, and they are memorable. But unfortunately with this one, the songs didn't leave an imprint on me, and actually kind of taking a jar sometimes. I actually got took out of the story a lot throughout the show when there were certain points within the music, which is why when Javen King came on board, who was playing Goldie Wilson for the majority of the show, his performance and the songs that he was given and how he performed them, I was able to connect with that. Yep. And so every time he was on stage, I was able to really identify and get on board with that side of the show. When some of the other songs, especially with some of the things where they literally, it's a musical, they're going to break into song, but sometimes it wasn't necessary. Like there was a scene where Marty wakes up after he's been hit. In this instance, he falls out of a tree, and he wakes up in his mum's bedroom. And then there's certain scenes when it comes to the actress playing Lorraine, when she bursts into song, I felt so disjointed. I think that didn't work. Sometimes it wasn't necessary to burst into song and explain what was going on through her mind and what was going on in the story through lyric, through song rather than script and speech. So that I felt that was a letdown for me. Like the music was very much a big letdown. But other than that, and I didn't really like this is probably down more to direction than anything else, but I didn't really like the performance of Biff. I found it was very wooden, and I found it was very scripted, and I connected with him, and it was very on point, scripted, point. It's pretty much getting a lot of notes and scripts from.
Well, I enjoyed a lot of his lines where he always got things mixed up, and respect my. I want my. He goes, I want my piracy. Yeah, and he's meant to say privacy.
Yeah, so there's little nuances there were okay. I just found that the performance done by Thomas McGowan, I didn't believe him. Okay. Unfortunately, I just didn't believe what he was saying. Everything he was saying. I found he was reading off a script. It was very wooden at points. So unfortunately, I didn't believe that character. Unfortunately, but so just to sum everything up, I still would recommend it for people because it is a very visual experience to have. Like the stage production is fantastic. The performances done by Roger is a standout. The fact that they brought him over from the States, he's definitely made a mark on that character as well, and just being immersed in that story was fantastic, and just takes me back to nostalgia because Back to the Future has been a part of my entire life. It came out before I was born, and I grew up on that film, so I found that connection to it as well. So, and then just having that iconic theme of Back to the Future woven throughout, hearing that the orchestra was another thing that I say is a big positive. The orchestra was done beautifully, sound mixed it the guy on the soundboard done a beautiful job. It was very immersive. It was done at the perfect pitch, and it was very evenly done throughout. It was beautiful score. The orchestra should be very much clapped on that one, and given praise on their artistry on that point. So overall, I thought it was a good show. I enjoyed it for what they provided to me. I just found it a little bit of a letdown on the music and the songs. Some of the performances were a little bit wooden, unfortunately, due to the gentleman who played Biff and things like that. But I will still say to people, if you are a fan of the movie, please go and see it. If you're a fan of the movie, you'll love the stage show. And please go and see it before it leaves, because I don't think it's going to come back due to how this one conducted. I think this is the last time you'll be able a chance to get to see Back to the Future, a musical on the stage in Australia for quite a while. I don't think they'll bring it back due to how this one performed. So unless you have a chance to go overseas to the States and see it over there. So that's pretty much my 2 cents about it as well. So that's...
And so what will you give it out of 5? I would give it 4.5 out of 5.
Okay. Will give it a solid 3.
Okay.
A solid 3. And then it just loses those 2. Like it gets a pass mark for me on a solid 3 due to everything that I've just explained when it comes to the positivity. But those negatives are sticking with me a little bit because of it, because I was hoping to get some sort of... I knew I was going to get Power of Love and Back in Time, which was... I was bobbing my head and singing along at the end in my head and things like the end. I just hoped I would have liked to have at least gotten at least one song, original song that I would have latched onto.
Yep.
But, yeah.
Cool. Well, that was Back to the Future, the musical.
So now we're going to switch gears yet again. We're going to go from an Icefall from film review to Back to the Future musical. Now we're going to back into a story about a film which is based on a true story, which I was very intrigued about, which I actually, due to you now, I didn't actually realise it got released. So, Matty, take us away. What have you watched this week?
Oh, I have watched a movie called The Luckiest Man in America. Now, this is based on a guy who he's a bit sus. Okay. Because of his personal background, because, again, based on a true story. And see, I discovered about this whole, not scandal. No, it would be a scandal, but it was unintentional. Okay. Because what had happened was that, in the 80s, there was a game show called Press Your Luck.
Yep.
And it will be, you answer a couple of questions, you earned, a couple of spins. And then when it goes to the board, it's got a whole bunch of prize amounts, costs and, money and prizes. And then there's one called whammy, which is like his critter, like a character. So your whole idea is the numbers are random, and then you hit, they come on, no whammy, and then you press the button and it's like, hey, I won $2,000 or whatever.
Kind of sounds, is it very similar to like The Price is Right or things similar to that? Like a game show?
Like think Wheel of Fortune type thing, and Price is Right, like a combination. You'll see clips of it on YouTube. Okay. And so it's American-based game show. We had an Australian version of it, hosted by Ian Turpie back in the day. And then the only way I knew about it was they used to play repeats of it in the early 90s, first thing in the morning, before Agro's Cartoon Connection. So with all that, there was a gentleman by the name of Michael Larson. Okay, so he was a bit down on his luck, being that he was known for some scams. Okay. So get rich quick type, multi-level marketing type things or so forth. And he had worked out, this is not a spoiler because it happened.
Well, that's fine sometimes when you're talking about a film that's based on a true fact, like spoilers, I went, well, it's based on a true story, so if you don't know, like, unless you're going into it, like, literally not knowing what the story is about. Put
it this way, I saw there was what's it, in the US, not 60, or we'll just go with 60 Minutes. 60 Minutes US did like a special, or CBS News, okay? And they did this like 1 hour special on this entire thing and like his background and stuff, because he's got a very intriguing background, this Michael Larson. But then after I watched it, then I tracked down the full original episode, the broadcast episode. So whenever the show goes to air, that's when people win their prize money. And okay. So with this, the guy had worked out that for ages he had been watching Press Your Luck, and then he eventually worked out there's an algorithm to it. There's a pattern to the lights, and because of that, the pattern there was only 5 patterns, so he knew exactly where it was going to land.
Right.
So like
so pretty much in a version of, like, in a simplest terms for our audience, if someone goes to the casino, they can count cards. It's very similar. Yeah. They've learned how to read the system. Yeah. He was able to read the system.
He knew exactly where the light was going to flash, and he knew what was going to come up on the screen because he just studied the show for months and months and months.
Okay.
And
because from what I understand, it was a documentary about what happened, and then they
because he's dead now.
Yeah, the person is dead now, and they made a documentary about the situation, what happened with him, and then now they've adapted that from that documentary to a feature film.
Well, the feature film is all about how he auditioned for the game show.
Yep.
And they've got a creative license on it. Okay. They acknowledge that at the beginning.
Okay, so a lot of the stuff in that you have to take
for dramatic value or whatever.
Yeah, so suspenders have to be put on because they don't actually. Some of the things it didn't actually happen.
So yeah, they made it a drama. Yep. Sorry, not drama, a dramedy. So so there was a couple of things where you just go, oh, all right, say when he starts hallucinating and coming under pressure, and then he tries to get out of the thing, and then some of the stage hands put pressure on him, or assistant producers and so forth.
Yep.
And then his van gets broken into. There's a couple of things where it's just like, okay, that's a dramatic license or creative license, and it was just pretty much the whole thing was based on the filming of the episode, and then it starts to unravel. And Walton Goggins plays the game show host.
Right.
And Walter Hauser.
He's popping up in everything lately. He was in Fantastic Four. Mm-hmm. He was in Naked Gun.
Yep.
He's got a film. He just did a film up the Gold Coast with Mark Wahlberg that's coming out next year. Like, he's popping up everywhere.
Yeah, well, he has an uncanny resemblance to the real Michael Larson.
Okay.
So he did a fantastic job. And think if you want to know what Michael Larson looks like, think Cole Sandilands. Okay.
For our Australian audiences, yes.
Yeah. So that's what he looks like. So but as the game show's going, like they're filming the game show, then it starts to unravel that he's a bit of a scam artist, and but he's also nervous as all hell as well. But he realizes, holy crap, this is working, because he keeps landing on the same thing, like it's say $5,000 and an extra spin, and so throughout the entire thing, he is just winning. And then the producers are going, oh, we should cancel this. You know, like he's doing something. So while they're filming the episode, they're trying to work out how he's rigging
the game.
Yeah. So first he knows, like they go, oh, stroke of luck. That's fantastic. Then he breaks the record, and then he just keeps going. It's like, okay, he knows there's something like.
Okay.
Yeah. And then it's like how and then that's when it becomes unravels.
So what did you think of the actual film? It's like, besides the narrative of the story, what did you actually think of the actual film?
Well, because I knew the story itself and I'd seen the real life show or the episode and everything else like that, and I thought, oh yeah, like the trailer is pretty appealing. Okay. But like it was an over the top reenactment, right?
Okay.
So and they make that clear, as I said at the beginning of the movie, because he worked out all the game patterns and prize board lighting.
Yep.
And unfortunately, the movie doesn't dig deep enough into his shonky background.
Okay.
All right. So it doesn't go into why he was, just certain things where it's like, give him more character. Like, if you don't know what he did, like, if you don't know how he was made people bankrupt and all that, then like it's all the spotlight is on just recording of that episode. Okay. And so because there was plenty of coverage and TV specials over the years for this, right? Okay. In the US, but for this movie, they didn't add any other extra elements. And like you can see all these specials and stuff on YouTube.
Yeah. Okay.
But honestly, if you're going to watch this movie, it's best to watch the original episode.
Could you do like a reversal? Could you watch the film and then watch the episode?
Yeah. Oh, I never thought about it that way, but
like that way you have a bit more of a context as what's going on behind the scenes.
Because you're going in fresh. For you, I'd say watch the movie first, then watch the 60-minute special.
Yep.
Or CBS News special, whatever it's on, and then track down the full episode. Okay, and then, if you do that, then it might be okay, because the way that the movie ended, it just like, oh, there's got to be more, like, because you basically get thrown into it.
Yeah.
And then, but it's like that they ran out of money. So
okay, that's like
that, like as in. Because a lot of money was spent. Oh, and Johnny Knoxville is in it too.
Oh,
yeah, he's. But I'm not going to say what it is. I think it was a waste of time for the moment that he was in it. So this is where I think they got the dramatic license, artistic license for. But overall, I gave the movie 2.5 because I wanted more substance. I wanted more
character
out of Michael Larson. So,
but
because I knew
that's
about
probably
him,
nothing on Paul Walter Hauser. So that's more down to the script not going into more depth about his, like, it was probably more they were trying to focus. They're literally just trying to focus on one moment rather than talking about his progression going to that point.
They establish at the beginning that because when he's doing his audition, he gives himself he gives a fake name. So like he steps in for someone else as they're going on, like through it all. Like the associate producer worked out, oh yeah, he's not who he is, but the executive producer of the show he was impressed. And it's like, oh, yeah, we'll have him on because he charmed me. Like he's a fan, and then it's just gone from there. But there's just little bits and pieces of he's a mysterious person, but they don't go into that too much. They do throughout the movie, but there's no explanation. It's like you got to figure it out yourself.
Okay. They're making the audience work for this narrative rather than providing it to them. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
It seriously is based all on him auditioning for the episode and recording the episode, and then, but towards the end, like when they get to the end of the movie itself, they do play a clip of the actual footage of the episode. So, yeah.
All right.
But that's it. So if you want something different, Luckiest Man in America, don't expect anything too much, but it will intrigue you to look him up.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, definitely I'm going to put that on now. What I'll do is I'll jump on our Letterboxd, and seeing as I've got a crap load of these films on that we need to get you to watch, this will be one for me to watch for us. So, okay, added to the list of my Geek Culture podcast to... Which we're going to have to start knocking some of these films off our list.
Yeah, we've got holidays coming up.
So that is the reviews.
Now, thank you very much, Reece, and for letting me review a movie that you haven't seen.
No, man, of course.
Now, I think it's time we can squeeze in a tiny little bit.
Yep.
Tiny little bit being a whole lot.
Yep.
Of one of Reece's favourite segments.
It is one of my favourite segments.
Because he likes to do research on this a lot.
Absolutely. So this is Entertainment Honourable Mentions. So we've got a big one today. There's kind of two. What I'm going to do is I'll probably go through the one that's we'll probably go through quicker first. Even though this what the subject matter behind this one is, I don't go too stock much in it because for obvious reasons. So right later this week, early in the week, they released the nominations for the Golden Globes. Now, I don't really take much fuss in the Golden Globes because the people who vote for the Golden Globes aren't really credible.
Do you think a lot of the awards lately in the US have just, like Golden Globes or Emmys, just all those ones are starting to lose credibility?
Well, Golden Globes, yes, I do believe in that point.
Oscars.
Because I still think SAG and the Oscars still have credibility because the nominations are voted by their peers.
Okay.
And the branches. So if you're going to the Oscars, when you are nominated for Best Director, you are voted on by the directors in the guild. So you can't... But the Golden Globes, they're not done by their peers. They're done by committees and other things that are not even connected to anything. So they don't even really matter in a way. But I thought we can just go through a few of them and just to see who... I've got the main big ones here. I won't go through too many of them, but just thought we just go through and just see who got nominated this year, because the award season is now officially starting up again.
Yep.
We can kind of get an idea what's going to be might be nominated for SAG and eventually the Oscars coming up as well. So I love the Oscars. I watch it every year. Unfortunately, I watch it every year, and I love that event. So this is more so giving us an understanding what we're going to be might see will be nominated. So, for example, we got Best Motion Picture Drama, Frankenstein, Hamnet, It Was Just an Accident, Sentimental Value, Sinners, and The Secret Agent were nominated. I've currently seen 2 out of them. I've seen Frankenstein and Sinners, and Sinners has been in my films of the year, which one of my top films of the year. So I'm so glad it's getting its recognition. Best Motion Picture, Musical or Comedy was Blue Moon, Begonia, Mighty Supreme, No Other Choice, Novella Vague, and One Battle After Another. Still have not seen One Battle After Another. That's the new Leonardo DiCaprio film that I want to get out to watch. So it's got that. Best Motion Picture Animated. Arco, Demon Slayer, Elio, K-Pop Demon Hunters, Little Amelie, and Zootopia 2. Very happy about Zootopia. And trivia point to everyone, it's been out. I think I reviewed it last week, I think, for our podcast, and it came out the weekend prior. It just reached $1 billion. Nice. It's only been out for almost 3 weeks now. It's just reached $1 billion, which is freaking incredible. This is where we go into some of the performances. So we got Best Performance by a Female Actor in a Motion Picture Drama. We have Ede Victor for Sorry Baby. We have Jennifer Lawrence for Die My Love. We have Jessie Buckley for Hamnet. Julia Roberts for After the Hunt. Renate Renzui, to apologize if I did not pronounce that rightly, for Sentimental Value. And Tessa Thompson for Hader. We got Best Performance by a Male Actor in a Motion Picture Drama. Dwayne Johnson for The Smashing Machine. Jeremy Allen White for Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere. We have an Aussie, We have Joel Edgerton for The Train Dreams, Michael B. Jordan for Sinners, Oscar Isaac for Frankenstein, and Wag Mora for The Secret Agent. Then we go into a bunch of others. Now, this is one that I like, that best performance by a female actor in a motion picture, musical, or comedy. Amanda Seyfried, The Testament of Anne Lee. We have Chasey Infinity, One Battle After Another. Cynthia Erivo for Wicked for Good. I'm happy to see that. That's really, really cool for me to see. Emma Stone for Begonia. Kate Hudson for Song Song Blue. She's been getting some good reviews on Song Song Blue. That's the new Hugh Jackman movie about that Neil Diamond country band, tribute band. And another Aussie, Rose Byrne, If I Had Legs, I'll Kick You, was nominated as well. Then we go into, let's say, best performance by a male actor in a motion picture. Ethan Hawke, George Clooney, Jesse Plemons, Lee Byung-hun, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Timothy Chalamet was nominated as well. Won't go too much more into it is so. Best performance by a female actor in a supporting role in any motion picture. I'm glad to see Ariana Grande has been nominated for Wicked for Good. Elle Fanning, Sentimental Value. Emily Blunt for The Smashing Machine. It was, and then another actress from One Battle After Another as well. One last thing, I've got best performance by a male actor in a supporting role in any motion picture. Adam Sandler has been nominated for Jay Kelly. It's one film that's on my list. I still have to watch it. Benicio del Toro for One Battle After Another. Another Aussie. Jacob Elordi for Frankenstein. Paul Mescal for Hamnet. Sean Penn for One Battle After Another. And Stellan Skarsgård for Sentimental Value. So that's all the performances. You've also got directors that were nominated. Guillermo del Toro for Frankenstein. Chloe Zhao's been nominated again for Hamnet. Ryan Coogler for Sinners. So a bunch of them were done. And I thought, really ashamed that when it comes to Best Motion Picture that Wicked wasn't nominated, which was pretty of a shame. But Wicked was nominated twice for Best Original Song, because it got 2 original songs in Wicked for Good, along with Best Original Song was also nominated for Avatar for Dreamers 1, which was it's the Miley Cyrus done one. Keep Up Dinner Hunters Golden, that's no surprise, was nominated as well. And Wicked for Good was also, they got a new category in the Golden Globes, which is, I think, is a kind of pointless category. It's cinematic in box office achievement. It's like, okay, all the films we can't nominate for anything else, we're just going to make it create a category for box office achievement. So they had Avatar, Fire and Ash, F1, K-Pop Demon Hunters, Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, Sinners, Weapons, Wicked for Good, and Zootopia 2. So they all got nominated for cinematic and box office achievement. I thought you might like this one, so I just did one just for you.
Oh, yeah.
So best television series drama. We have The Diplomat, Severance,
Yay!
Slow Horses, The White Lotus. I'm a big one on this one. The Pit. I thought that was great. And Pluribus.
Nice.
So Pluribus forgot thing. And then this is one for my wife and I. We just finished watching this series. So best television series, musical or comedy. Abbott Elementary. The Bear. Why is The Bear in musical or comedy?
It's not comedy. It's
a drama.
Yeah.
Bewilders me. Hacks is in there again. Only Bird is in the building. The Studio. Please tell me you've seen The Studio.
I've seen one episode of The Studio.
You've got to watch The Studio. It's so great. And Nobody Wants This, so which is that Netflix series with Kristen Bell and Adam Brody. I think no, Adam Brody.
It is Adam Brody.
Adam Brody. Yeah. I got the A right. Yeah. So my wife and I are really a fan of that show, so we got that too. Then you got a bunch of other actors and things that got nominated within that. I think you would like this. That if I go around to one of these series here, you've got best performance by a female actor in a television series musical. Jenna Ortega got nominated for Wednesday.
Oh, there you go.
You've got Kristen Bell for Nobody Wants This. Selena Gomez as always. We've also got what we've got here. One of the new series I watched this year called The Girlfriend, that was created and written by Robin Wright. She got nominated for best performance by a female actor, which was fantastic. And yeah, so that kind of goes through that point as well. And I was trying to look that through Best Performance by a Female Actor in a Television Drama. Your girl got nominated for Pluribus. So Rhea Seehorn, she got nominated.
Rhea Seehorn, yeah.
Yep. Kerry Russell for The Diplomat. Kathy Bates for Matlock. Helen Mirren for Mobland. Bloody deserved. She was evil and cunning in that series. She was, ugh. And Bella Ramsey got made for The Last of Us. So that was just a streamline of the Golden Globes. Like I said, they don't take too much stock in the Golden Globes, but I thought it was kind of a good thing to see where the nominations were coming out for the Golden Globes, and just to see where the award season is now kicking off into gear. So just to see where things are landing. Is any of those nominations that I said to stand out for you besides Pluribus?
Pluribus and Severance, they should win awards. Well, Severance should, because if anything, the second season's just absolutely phenomenal.
Which they did get a lot of awards. Was this the second season they just released, or season 3?
Season 2. Yeah, the one they've released earlier this year.
Yep.
Season 2.
Okay.
But they're not going to wait.
They've got a lot of mixed reviews about that one, though.
I shouldn't have.
Yeah, they said it wasn't as strong as the first season.
Oh, I found it stronger, and also a lot of questions were answered.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Everyone interprets it differently, so it's pretty cool. So yeah, that's the Golden Globe nomination. So now it's like one of the big things in entertainment industry. Everyone's talking about it. If you're listening to the entertainment industry right now at the moment, everyone's talking about it. It's the massive big bidding war that went on for Warner Brothers. That's the biggest thing that's going on in the entertainment industry right now. It's been going on for the last month or two, or it's been going on for quite a while.
Well, I offered, a couple of billion, and they wouldn't accept it because I wanted to use PayPal's Pay in 4, but they don't accept that.
Oh, jeez. So they had a bunch of people to inform, and then they put down a deadline date saying, last bid's here, this is it, that's it. And Netflix won the bid. I have my own thoughts on the result, but what I thought is that I will go through some bullet points here that I've done the research for. I've picked up from the press release that Netflix had released on the deal, and pretty much go through them. Maybe touch on one little things that I have reservations about, or get your 2 cents about it too, just to see what you thought process is. But we'll just go through them and just see where we land. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. So first thing off the rank, the deal that just won by Netflix was $82.7 billion deal. Now, with that being said, that's outdoing Paramount and Comcast Universal. This is bigger than the Disney Fox deal that happened a little while ago when they bought out 20th Century Fox.
Yep.
That deal sold. The Disney bought Fox. Just to say, the deal was huge. Let's just say the deal that Netflix has gotten Warner Brothers for is bigger than the Disney Fox deal, which is absolutely incredible. Maybe it was 180. Maybe, I don't know what it is, but it's huge. So that's the first thing. So that's freaking huge. Next thing is one of the biggest things that I found from the press release is that this deal will take at least a year to go through, and not happen to after Warner Brothers spins off its global network division, Discovery Global, in late 2026, which is a lot of their TV shows, the TV divisions and things like that. So if everyone thinking that they're going to switch on Netflix tomorrow and see Warner Brothers there, and see properties from Warner Brothers and HBO, it's not going to happen, because it's not until the end of next year. Then this deal has to, Netflix doesn't get Warner Brothers until towards the end of next year.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much that. Another thing that was said in the press release, that Warner Brothers will stay intact and continue to put out theatrical films. Anyone who knows about Netflix, they're notoriously of wanting to not put things out theatrically. They don't care about the theatrical experience. They think it's a waste of time. So at the same time, the CEO wants to pretty much said, the co-CEO Craig Peters said HBO is powerful to consumers. That gives us a lot of options to figure out how you package things in a different way. So that was talking about HBO. So pretty much he knows that the powerful of the brand, and that they maybe can package things together, maybe bring things, say if you spend $30, you can get Netflix and HBO Max kind of thing, you can bundle things together. But they know about how much, so they never were in the theatrical business. Maybe they, and when it comes down to, they never spent all this money to buy this company just to dissolve it and get rid of everything. They want to try, from what I can understand, they want to try and get into the theatrical business, and they can do that with having Warner Brothers. Netflix will stay as it is, and they will release films as they always have with Netflix original films and things like that. But they might use Warner Brothers for theatrical and leave that things as it is. So that's what that is. And talking about HBO Max, it said that they will continue to operate as a standalone service. So they
just want ownership. That's all.
Yeah, they want ownership of the IP and what it provides.
Yeah,
what I can see. Another big thing that people were worried about with this deal is that most of the current creative leadership is staying. That includes Michael DeLuca, which is the co-chair, which is pretty much the chairman and co-chair of WB Films. Pan Abdi, who also is the co-chair of WB Films, and James Gunn, the co-CEO of DC and creative CEO for DC Studios. So that's what I've said. They are staying, which is really good to hear. Things that could be a bit more titchy is that Netflix is wanting to shorten the release windows. So maybe go from the current 90-day creative theatrical window and bring it to 45 days. And pretty much they're saying we've got to get to the audience. We need to get things to the audiences quicker, which I think is the biggest mistake you could ever do.
I kind of agree with that idea because it's less advertising, because after the 90 days, you got to re-advertise to say now available on digital DVD or whatever like that. So I somewhat agree, but not to full strength. It would be advertising-wise, trying to save dollars.
Okay.
And also, it depends on the popularity too. If you got like this movie that's made $2 billion, like you watch the example, Zootopia 2, as you said, made $1 billion.
Yep.
Disney will try and get that onto Disney Plus as soon as possible. Okay. Because
but they still, like I said, they will still allow it to have a theatrical window of at least. They at least try and give it at least a theatrical window of at least a minimum period.
Yeah.
Like, unless it's one of those things where it's like the notorious for a lot of other studios where if a film's bombing and the theaters are taking it off their screens,
then
they will dump it on the thing as soon as possible to try and get some revenue onto the streaming service. But as long as it's doing successful and they're putting on the streaming thing, just because don't expect Zootopia 2 to be on Disney Plus by the end of the year, because that's going to be playing in theaters, and like it's going to have a full theatrical window. My thing is, once it goes off the theaters, don't put it straight onto streaming service. You got to give it some time to breathe, and then build up the anticipation for it to eventually come onto the streaming service to then bring the excitement to then bring it onto there. So if you put things in theaters first, you are going to get a boom on your streaming service. It's evidently fact. It's happened in the past. If you would look at the biggest stream films last year, 8 out of the 10 films were all theatrical films.
Okay.
So it just shows you how much important theatrical films is, not just to us as an audience, but it also to the studios. So that's what I pointed. Pretty much that's the main point. So before I go into kind of doing my interpretations of it and what I'm kind of worried about, when I say all that, and I have fact-checked my data, so I'm going to go back to it. So Disney paid for Fox deal was $71.3 billion. So I was right. It was I was right, and eventually, so Netflix got the bid for $82.7 billion for Warner Brothers, and the deal for Disney who buying Fox was 71.3. Cool. So that shows you the difference there. So thank you for that. I just fact checked myself for that. So with all that being said, before I go into more detail about what's your mindset with everything that's been what I've been saying, what's been going on?
Well, as long as they still release physical media, because Warner Brothers are good at that. Okay. So as long as they put the libraries out, and it doesn't purely rely on streaming, but they still have the best of both worlds, then they'll be fine. And they don't cancel anything of the DC studios. Don't turf anything of that. But I do hope they churn out more Looney Tunes stuff.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to that, if anything, because of especially the most recent things where, like, if anything, less of the culling, because they've, like with Batgirl, they destroyed the movie because they went. This is Warner Brothers. They wanted the tax cut. They wanted the tax break.
They had really bad test screenings too. So
so they got rid of that, and then they nearly destroyed Coyote versus Acme. And
before it got bought out.
Yeah, and thank you for Catch Up Entertainment for going, hey, we'll do it.
Yeah.
So that comes out next year. So maybe it'll prevent those things. So maybe if it's like poor test screenings, they'll go, oh, we'll just put it on the streaming. Or whatever. So I hope that the quality isn't poor.
Okay. My two things is, like, there's a parliament that I kind of refer to quite a bit with a lot of things, because I think I do agree with a lot of things he says, and I've made sure I thought about this quite a lot this week, and I kind of agree. The one things I have a problem with Netflix, and I've always had to begin, like when I knew Netflix was going to be in the game to buying Warner Brothers, one of the things I was worried about is that Netflix is notoriously driven by analytics.
Yep.
That they don't care about working with creatives, giving them freedom, being able to showcase and give them the openness to give theatrical releases and work with creative people and be able to give a environment for innovation. They're not notorious, which is why out of every 100 films that Netflix put out, only one of them will be amazing, will be pretty much decent, which shows the lack of quality that they have. They're more interested in quantity,
not quality.
Yeah, quantity, not quality. And so because they're analytics driven, is saying, okay, no, your thing needs to do this, this, and this, because we need to get here, and that's what the data says. But that's taking away the art of what, because films, TV shows are art. I don't understand how Netflix can do so great in a lot of their TV shows. They're still not up to the standard of what HBO is. HBO is the pinnacle. That's HBO is the top. Netflix is doing pretty good. Like, they've got a lot of great Netflix shows, like House of Cards, The Crown, Stranger Things. They've got a lot of great TV shows, but they suck when it comes to producing films. And it is more caring about spouting out crap rather than making good quality films and working with creators and doing this kind of things. And that's what I'm worried about, is that they're doing all this. That's their metric, and I don't want them to apply that to Warner Brothers, because I want them to, for one thing, I want them to go through on their word and actually allow Warner Brothers to stand on their own still, be their own studio, keep the creative team there, because Mark DeLuca and Penn Addy have been fantastic this year. They've done, I think they had so many films open to above, they broke a record this year. I think they had 7 films this year that was done by Warner Brothers that was agreed to, that was greenlit by DeLuca and Abdi. 7 films of them opened up to the box office over 40 million. And that record was broken with one battle after another. But they broke so many records, those 7 films in a row. They had Final Destination, they had Weapons, they had Sinners. They had so many good films coming out this year in the horror genre.
Yep.
To do that. So I want them to be, I don't have a lot of confidence that they'll be, I'm being optimistic that I'm hoping they'll be true to their word. And I'm hoping that, in the words of Gordon Gekko from Wall Street, greed is good. Everyone is about greed. In these corporations, if it's going to bring them money, they'll do anything to keep money coming in. Sticking to theatrical releases for Warner Brothers, you have such a rich history with Warner Brothers. That studio's been around for over 100 years. They need to keep that history alive in that studio and keep things going. And keeping Mike DeLuca, Penn Abdi, and now with this new introduction with James Gunn rebranding and bringing a new era into the DC, I am so looking forward to seeing what 2026 comes by. They just released a new trailer for Supergirl. I didn't think the new trailer was fantastic, but I'm interested to see a new film in the DC universe that wasn't written and directed by James Gunn or helmed by James Gunn. Because the last 3 projects we had of James Gunn where his footprint is on it, so I'm intrigued about that. Really looking forward to DC's Lantern series that's coming out. We've got a body horror film coming out of Clayface, which is so. If they stay true to their word, which my personal bias aside at the moment, corporations will say one thing and then 6 months later going, someone will talk in their ear and they're saying, maybe about this, and then they'll decide against it, which is not going to be great. So I'm just hoping that what they said in this press release, they will stay true to their word. So that's pretty much, I could go into this a lot more in detail and talk about this a lot more, about for another half an hour, which will bore the hell out of our audience. But this is the biggest thing, this is a huge thing that is happening in the entertainment industry. Warner Brothers has been bought by Netflix. Now, no, Paramount CEO has also now gone to the courts and he wants to do a hostile bid takeover to try and get back in, because he's doing there's a lot of things going on in the entertainment with the CEO of Paramount wanting to. He wrote a letter pretty much saying that pretty much said if you want to read up about it, he embarrassed really much his company in Paramount. If you want to read about it, please go ahead and read about the letter he submitted just before the deal got announced that Netflix won. So go and read about it if you want to. It's intriguing to see if you are interested about what's going on with this entire deal. I would have preferred at the time before I read the letter that Paramount would have got it. Actually, my preference was to have Warner Bros. Stay as their own studio, but I digress. But I won't go too much more into detail about it, but I was very passionate about reading about this. I spent a good amount of time on the research about it and learning a bit about it, and so I'm optimistic, trying to my best to be, but I have a lot of doubts, especially the history that Netflix has done in the past and how they treat creatives, how they treat theatrical films, how they treat films in general, and so we'll have to wait and see. But like I said, please, if you take one thing from this segment, is that Netflix doesn't gain access to Warner Brothers for at least a year. They won't actually get to make any decisions for at least a year. Warner Brothers needs to sign off and get rid of their Discovery Plus side of their company first, before those things will take action. So Warner Brothers will still act as anything. So everyone goes, with this going down, then they're not going to release Mortal Kombat 2. They're not going to release this. No, they're not going to release Supergirl. They're not going to release this. They will. Everything that's coming out, it's already in the books. Is going to count. Netflix can't do anything until they finalize everything going on with the WD's global network division, which is Discovery Global. They can't do anything about it until that is finalized, which is going to take them a minimum of 9 or 10 months to do. So that's the main thing from it. So
cool.
I've done a lot of talking at that point, but is there anything else that you want to touch on when it comes to this?
No, I'm just looking forward to. I'm in that watch this space moment zone. So be keen to see where it goes.
Okay. So thank you, audience, for sticking with us for that little segment. I know it was a bit of a change in pace. We're going to wrap things up. That is the Entertainment Honourable Mention.
Wow, this has been one hell of an episode. This is our longest episode that we've done.
Yes.
So we've had a lot going on. Again, thank you once again to Walkden Entertainment for allowing us to providing the access for Icefall. Thank you for continuing on if you're still listening. So thank you very much. We'll catch you next episode. I'm now tired after the musical adventure that
we've
had.
Long day.
It's been, a very intriguing day. In fact, you know what? I have not had a coffee at all day. That's a miracle because I'm usually 6 cups a day and I have not had one coffee. I kept up my fluids today though.
Yes, you have. Yes,
I kept hydrated.
So let's see. Okay, we're going to take a bet. How many days can he make? Can he go 2 days without coffee?
Oh no, I've got a major headache right now. So I got a caffeine
withdrawal.
Yeah, big time. So thank you very much, Reece, for a fantastic day. It was his idea with the musical. Loved every moment of it.
Absolutely.
And I hope you do too if you do get to catch it. So again, thanks very much for listening. This is Reece's reviews for mygeekculture.com.au. Feel free to email us info@mygeekculture.com.au or share the love with our podcast, share it around. And
yes, please do.
Yeah, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Thank you, Reece.
Thank you, Matt Man. Thank you very much for having us. Be good to yourself, spread the positivity, and as always, my fellow friends, may the force be with you.
Oh, this is heavy. Sorry.